And we're back. Now, in the last episode, I went over one of the most diabolical losing streaks that you can have, especially if you're trying to get to Division 1, where I went from 1953 all the way back down to 1855, which was like one of the best crash outs I've had since like Final Destination 2. But my goodness, what can change in a week? We're now up to the highest point I have been in NHL 25, 1973, as we march closer and closer to the 2100 and getting to Division 1. Now let's discuss the team upgrades. I was able to get Brent Burns finally replacing Axel Sandin Pellikka. Not only one of my favorite Sharks of all time, but simply one of the best defenseman cards in the game. And so far from my time using him, he has been everything that I needed him to be, and he plays like a 99. With a combination of Gold Heat Seeker, as well as Elite Edges and Shutdown, and allow me to be confident that if my first D pair isn't on the ice, I can still wreak some havoc. Brent Burns has been everything I needed. Now, how I got Brent Burns was I took advantage of the extremely weird decision by EA to go back to like the November wildcard path, where we were getting X Factors, Power Up Icons, and Team Builder rewards, and while for a majority of the player base, these rewards are really not going to be worth chasing, the Team Builder aspect was super important because I already had Trevor Linden, I just needed one more 92 overall. So I did the wildcard path, got the Team Builder items from that path, and then I waited for a Team Builder pack in the store, bought my final card required, and I was able to grab Brent Burns. Now on forward, the only addition this week was the 95 George Laraque. My first time getting top 100 in Hut Champs this year. I was pretty stoked because I've been dying for top-end cards that have gold truculence that fit my team, and I actually learned a little bit. So my first few games with Laraque, having gold truculence, I don't know if it was because I wasn't used to having truculence players, especially on forward. I found myself just chasing everyone around, trying to hammer them anytime Laraque was on the ice. And obviously, like we've talked about ad nauseum over the last few episodes, patience is the most important thing in this game. And when you're trying to chase people around to get hits, you're just going to leave yourself out in the open, and it caused more problems than it did assist. However, after a few games, I knocked that off, and Laraque has been great. Do I think he'll remain on my top line? Probably not, but I'm old and I like to show off the orange Hut Champs card. Sue me. Now we also got week 2 of the Double Shaft event. And I gotta be honest with you, super lackluster in terms of the cards available to make from this event. But I did want to make one, especially because I was able to earn it for free. And by free, I mean grind squad battles into the ground and do all of my chores like a good boy.
You are one pathetic loser.
But for real, it was actually pretty easy to get these objectives done. And if they ever do shot blocks again, I hope whoever comes to that decision stubs their toe repeatedly. However, this is the easiest way to get them done. Simply go into squad battles, put it on superstar difficulty, set as many of the cards that you need to block shots with, and then just ice the puck and sit in front of the net. It legitimately took me 2 games, but good lord was that infuriating. However, because I am desperately trying to get to Division 1, upgrading my team is paramount. I don't recommend this for 99% of the player base, but if your goal is to legitimately get to the top end of the player base, not using your favorite players is going to have to be something you do more than likely. And the only real holes I have in my lineup is at center with the 95 John Tavares from the Fantasy Playoff Round 2 cards. He's fine, but obviously somewhere that I could improve. And then 93 Nick Antropov is simply just a placeholder card. And then on defense, I could upgrade from Ryan Whitney and get another left-handed defenseman. So both of those options are on the table. Which means my options are the 95 Brian McCabe. And while I think truculence on forwards is a little bit less usable because, again, you don't want to have those moments where you're chasing constantly. A defenseman where you're going to be hitting a lot, especially in your own zone, trying to shove them off the puck. Truculence on a defenseman is just so much more important. So McCabe's card does interest me. I just really don't like the 95 speed and excel at this stage of the game. Other cards that have that skating I've noticed have been pretty sluggish, so not super thrilled with him. And then Robin Regeer would be the other option, who, if I was going to make one, it would be Robin Regeer. Again, the same skating, but I just like Quick Pick a little bit more than Thunderclap, and he does have truculence with maxed out body checking, defensive awareness, and stick checking. But the card that I am going to add to the team is the 95 Mark Scheifele at 6'3", 207. again, at 96 speed and excel, it's not unbelievable, but 99 face-offs with silver quick draw is something I want to have on as many lines as possible, and I can use that for the end of the game or filler if I'm trading in other things. And I know that he would be an upgrade over John Tavares, so the 95 Mark Scheifele is the free Master Set player that I'm going to choose. Now, as you can see, I've got everything that I need, and I want to go over how I earned all of this and something that I would recommend to everyone still trying to get Master Set items from events. I've got the 392 overall event items that are required: Brendan Morrison, Sergei Gonchar, and Vladislav Gavrikov. How I earned these for free was by logging in, going to the store, and getting the daily collectible packs and doing this set. I almost have enough for a second 92, but I would 100% recommend doing this set if you're going to make a Master Set player item. Now, the other ones I earned by doing all of the moments. You will get random 90 overall event items, and these will scale, so make sure you're completing the moments that you've got because they will give out the cards required. Also, EA, what the on the last two new moments? Honestly, I don't know what it is. If there's something in the background where it's like the Carolina home arena or something makes some of these moments extremely difficult, but the Regeer and Anderson one specifically, while the difficulty says All-Star and Pro, it's one of those ones where all of the sliders are jacked up for the AI. You're getting ragdolled constantly, and it's extremely difficult. So those two were frustrating, but for the most part, prior to these two, moments have been easy. And then I did all of the week 1 objectives, which net me another 92, and all the collectibles earned from that, again, just allowed me to get the 3 required. Now, I want to point out, before you jump in and make your Master Set item, I would recommend keeping those 92 items and having a lineup set and doing the other objectives first. Again, even if you're not going to make another Master Set player item, the amount of free things that you can earn, again, within about 3 to 4 squad battle games is worth it if you were trying to upgrade your team at this stage of the game and get as much stuff as possible for future events. Before you trade in all of those event items, just keep them in a lineup before you invest into the Master Set player item you're chasing after, because I might be able to make a second one, I'll be honest with you. As you can see, I've got my chores lineup that I just keep now for my weekly things that I've got to get done. And as you can see, I've got the event player items required. I've also got a full team of the week squad as well, which allows me to complete the team of the week objective list in legit 2 squad battle games. This I would 100% recommend you do. Spend like 30,000 coins, make an entire lineup of team of the week cards so that when this comes out, you can finish it off and you'll get a 92 overall team of the week item from the objective list. That's how I got John Tavares. And again, just goes to show it's easy to make these Master Set items for free, even more than just the event items. And then Axel Sandin Palika, he's just going into this set because he's been a great soldier and it's time to move on. Now, we also got the Hutverse event drop, which was pretty crazy considering how many cards they released and how good they were. Me personally, I'm old, I'm a traditionalist, I hate playing defensemen on forwards and vice versa.
Hey, you're embarrassing yourself, you geriatric.
And the cost is insane. However, I am going to work towards one. Again, as you can see, I completed all of the Hutverse objectives, which net me 10 Hutverse items, which will allow me to slowly work towards Dougie Hamilton. These sets aren't timed, so they will remain in the game, but if you watched my Hutverse ranking video, I talked about how good this Dougie Hamilton card is. This is essentially an end-game centerman. It's so dumb that it's a defenseman, but hey, he's a former Ice Dog. He's 6'6", 230, almost maxed out skating, 99 faceoffs and silver quick draw. And if I replace Tavares and Antropov with Dougie Hamilton and Scheifele, that's a pretty big boost to the team. Lastly, I do want to talk about sets one more time. I brought this up in the prior video, but this is exactly what I am doing. And I've earned about 100,000 coins in about 5 days by doing it. The set that I am doing is this 5x78 plus overall chance players pack for 3 collectibles, and I am selling everything that is 85 and below to the auction house. Everything is just immediately going in there for 1,200 coins. It will sell even 78 silver items. So every time I do one of these, I'm getting at least 6,000 coins, and I've actually pulled like 87 and 88s out of here as well. But let's get into some gameplay from this past week and go over some of the other tips and things that I want to show you guys, like I do in every episode now. So let's hop into the most recent game of Rivals that got me up to my highest rating that I had been all year. So let's kick things off with essentially a highlight of everything that I've shown you guys over the last few videos. I break into the offensive zone with Hedman, who is essentially out of energy, and because I really don't have a play anywhere, my only option is to reverse hit, and I do. I stumbled Parayko enough to keep the puck and wait for reinforcements. Now, I could send it around behind the net, but I noticed that he is just essentially middle sitting in front of the net, not pressuring me at all. And I've talked about this a number of times. Patience and not moving the puck and making your opponent dictate what you're going to do is really one of the best formulas if you want to get to the highest division of competition in this game. So I circle around waiting for him to pressure me, and eventually his passiveness with Parayko opens up Burns at the point, and I rip a green one-timer upstairs and take the early 1-0 lead. Again, it's not pretty, but it's just an example of what you have to do if you want to be in the higher divisions of this game. Off the ensuing face-off, I want to show an example of when it is okay to be aggressive defending the rush. In this situation right here, I have Niedermayer, and I also can see that his other two players are at a standstill because he's carrying the puck in, and I have 4 players back. I've talked about this a lot, that with your defenseman, you want to stay inside the face-off dots for the most part. And another major thing you want to be doing is, with your user-controlled player, try and guide them into your AI. So as you can see here with Niedermayer, put pressure on him, which forces him to stop up. Heatley runs into him, makes him stumble. I pick it up with Nathan MacKinnon's Team of the Season card. He's just far too fast to catch up to, and then it's a backhand, forehand, backhand upstairs, and I take the 2-0 lead really early in the game. So in this play, I want to highlight a more advanced face-off awareness. If you haven't checked it out yet, I did drop my full complete guide to face-offs. This is kind of an advanced situation. So he has John Tavares, and I've got Jason Arnott, who has 99 face-offs and silver quick draw. I know that no matter what Tavares card he has, he does not have 99 face-offs. So because of that, I know that I will win a draw if we both tie up or he does the backhand straight back. If he does the stick lift and wins, I'm completely okay with that, but I know the odds are in my favor. So I tie him up and immediately rush in with Makar and pick up the puck. Skate wide in the zone because he committed too early. Hit Bondra with a one-timer in the slot that somehow saved. I pick the puck back up with Bondra, and I send it back to the point for a one-timer. It doesn't give me the clean, skill-based one-timer, but I've got Larocque right in front of the net, who's able to tip it home upstairs, and I take the 3-0 lead. But this entire play all starts because of face-off awareness and knowing what would give me the best odds to win the draw in my own zone. Here's another example. Still in the first period, I've won essentially every face-off by doing the tie-up. If someone can't prove to you that they know how to beat a certain face-off maneuver, just keep doing it until they do. So I tie up here. It's a bit of a mess, but I get into the zone, and he's getting impatient. You can tell, probably because I'm up 3-0. But he makes a really bad player switch, and he's chasing me, and I just send it to Hedman at the point for a skill-based one-timer, and I get the 4-0 lead and the quit. So after that win, I'm up all the way to 1973 on my climb to Division 1. Now, when it comes to upgrades for my team this week, obviously I will be getting Mark Scheifele to replace John Tavares. However, because I am going to finish all of the Week 2 objectives, I should get enough collectibles along with the daily packs and the random 92 that I will get for completing all these objectives to make a second Master Set player item. And what I think I will do is I'll replace Ryan Whitney, who has been just completely okay. I have no complaints with this Ryan Whitney card at all. But I would like to try out putting someone in the lineup that has truculence on the back end, so I think I'll go ahead and make this Robin Regeer once I get everything completed. Now, when it comes to the Hutverse cards and the sets to make them, I am slowly going to build towards it. I've already got quite a few Hutverse player items, and I do have an interest in making Dougie Hamilton, but I'm not going to rush out and blow through all the rest of my collection to chase after it. I do think he would be by far the most impactful card on my team, so I will eventually get him. But that's going to do it for this episode of No Money Spent. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.